Good morning and welcome to the BCM Business Corner. And this morning we have with us Orla Hughes, who is the Commercial Manager in Europe in Portwest. And Orla, we're really thrilled that you've taken the time out of your really busy schedule to be with us today. I've in the past worked with Portwest, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I know that it's very hard to get out for an hour to do something like this, so we're very grateful. So this morning Orla is going to talk to us about Brexit and about the impact that and the changes that Portwest have made over the last few years to try and safeguard the business against a bad Brexit. So Orla, so you've been with Portwest for 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years since last week. So over the last 2 years, the job has been ever evolving and changing. I started off in the German-speaking markets because I'm fluent in German, and then moved on and worked with my Northern European colleagues. And now I'm looking after all of Europe and UK from a commercial perspective. So there's plenty going on, and a lot has happened over the last 2 years in the company.
And so what changes have you had to make sort of on the ground in order to safeguard against Brexit?
Well, the biggest challenge for us is that previously our key hub, our biggest warehouse, is based in the UK, and this previously serviced UK and all of the European region, as well as further afield such as Africa and the Middle East.
Yes.
It's a bonded warehouse, which gives us an advantage that there wouldn't be double duties if we were to export, but there are other unknowns that we don't know when it comes to a no-deal Brexit, or the challenges of getting goods in and out of the country. So we looked at other locations within the EU to get, I guess, a second warehouse to service the European countries, because UK for us is approximately 1/3 of our business, but Europe is just under half of the business. So it's still a huge market for us, and has lots of potential for growing. We feel we're only scratching the surface.
Okay. Explain to me a little bit more about the bonded warehouse and what does that mean in terms of duties? So you said that the UK is a bonded warehouse. What does that mean?
A bonded warehouse essentially means that you only pay duty on the arrival of the sold goods. So for example, if the goods came in from the Far East into the bonded warehouse, no import duties are paid. They're essentially held, it's almost like a cloud in a physical sense.
Yes.
And from there the goods are sold. So for example, if they're sold to Africa, then it's whatever the import duty is from the source of origin into Africa would be an example. So it's not that you're paying duty into the UK and then duty into another country. So it's the destination country that you pay the duty to.
Yes.
So we wouldn't have double duty. I guess the unknown for us is the length of time it takes for a ship or a truck through customs to get into the warehouse and then get out again as well. So our service currently from the UK to Ireland is between, I think, 24 and 48 hours. Well, we don't know the time it will take, so our service levels to our customers are very important. So when looking at the EU, we decided that we needed more warehousing space in the UK anyway, as the company has been growing 20% every year for the past 40 years.
Well done.
And we looked at, we had a pick face warehouse in Poland, which was 4,500 meters squared, and we looked in the same industrial estate, and one came up for lease that was 14,000 meters squared. So we took that lease up, we shelved it, fitted it out, and now it's full with goods to service the European countries. The biggest challenge in this was hiring 150 staff from 5 or 6. So we've turned essentially our Polish facility from a corner shop into a Tesco overnight, if you wanted to use, I guess, an analogy. And the rollout of that, we had to phase all the European countries in. And this was happening earlier in the year when people thought that Brexit was going to happen in March. So we've given ourselves a very tight time frame to move this. So we had to set customers' expectations. We had to also set their expectations in the change of lead time, in the change of carrier, and in a way we tried to make it that there was as little change as possible.
Okay.
But at the same time setting customer expectations. It took about 3 to 4 months for us to settle.
Okay.
And now we're servicing the European customers from the Polish warehouse with the same service levels, if not sometimes better than the UK warehouse.
That's fantastic.
So we like to think of ourselves now as Brexit proof.
That's brilliant. So when you made the shift, so when you decided to start another warehouse or set up another warehouse in Poland, you already needed that extra space. So it was something that was just done in another country rather than doing it in the UK. Is that's
essentially?
Yeah. Okay.
And so the year before we were at max capacity in our warehouses for our busy season.
Yeah.
So essentially this was a step that was needed regardless.
Yes.
It would be preferable to keep it in the one hub.
Yes.
Because when you have got 2 hubs,
yes.
Murphy's Law is that the one item you need is in stock in one hub and not in the other.
Yes.
So we have preferred the model of keeping one major hub within Europe,
yes.
but this has just spurred us to have 2, and we're managing well.
And then so a huge project, even recruiting and employing. And do you find in the different markets in Europe, do you find the language a difficulty when trading or recruiting, or do you always recruit people locally, or are they always recruited we'll say in Dublin or the UK and then brought out, or do you recruit locally in the countries you're in?
So the Portwest model when it comes to recruiting is that Westport is our headquarters. We're very proud of where we're from, and we like to keep as many functions as possible in our headquarters. So we have management, commercial department, marketing, supply chain, accounts, product development. So all these different elements are based in the headquarters. The only major departments that we give out are warehousing and sales, essentially. So our sales people, it's very important that you hire locally, because they give you the culture difference, they also give you the language difference. But essentially the way you sell and the way you do business is the same. They're the only nuances that change, and by hiring someone local, you're getting those nuances from the person that's based there. They also come with a network of people, which helps when you're setting up relationships with distributors in the market. So that for us will be the key when hiring the sales. And then of course the warehousing, you need to hire somebody locally to work in the building. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's how we manage it.
And how do you find training those new staff, like bringing in all of these new people and setting up all of this? How do you manage training? Do you set your training standards at HQ level, or is that done on the ground?
It's a mixture.
Okay.
So our HR department in the headquarters has travelled out a number of times to Poland. There's a training manager on site.
Brilliant.
Who any induction that's needed or training that's needed. But with the scale of going from 5 or 10 people to 150, this was quite a challenging period.
Yes.
But it was done in phases. So there would be a batch of people hired, trained in, and then once they passed their probation, the next set would come in. And so it was in waves 2 years ago in this one.
How many countries in total, remind me, do you actually service?
We sell into over 130 countries.
130. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Our marketing department is quite busy though.
Yes.
So our sales team, they translate all the marketing literature, but the marketing team have to coordinate all of this and make sure that everything is done very well. Still the number 1 marketing tool for us is our catalogue.
Yes.
And the current catalogue that we're bringing out is coming out in a few weeks. It is now available in 28 languages.
28.
So it's quite a big job. 700 pages.
Wow. Yeah.
200 new products between the old catalogue, which was first printed 2 years ago.
What would you like to see happen with Brexit?
No Brexit, preferably. I know. In reality, it would be great to see that that they remain in the customs union.
Yeah.
And that there are no borders.
Yes.
But it's difficult to see or predict what's going to happen. I think the biggest worry for a lot of people in the European Union is the uncertainty.
Yes.
Nobody can predict, not even people in the Commission can predict how even the UK, the British Parliament, don't seem to be able to predict what's going to happen once they leave and how they leave either.
Yes.
So it's this unknown really that's the biggest risk. Rather, if people knew, they can prepare better for it, and particularly businesses that may not have as many resources as a large multinational company.
Yeah. How do you unwind from all the Brexit and all the pressures of working in very big markets on a very large scale? How do you relax? Do you?
Of course I do. I like to make sure that I have a good work-life balance. I do try and go and exercise most days. Sometimes that doesn't happen, but definitely health, nutrition, and then not going home at 9 or 10 at night, but going home at a reasonable hour where you can still sometimes see daylight. A bit more difficult in winter, but definitely just keeping a work-life balance. Having friends and hobbies is also key outside of work.
And how do you find, because Portwest is a family-run business, how do you find working with family?
I really enjoy it, actually.
Yeah, that's good.
Before I joined, I was a bit apprehensive because I didn't really know how it would work, but we're very good at keeping work in work and our personal life then outside of work. So it's very simple to manage. Yeah. So I really enjoy it. I'm working with my cousins, my brother, my sister, my uncles and my father. So it's a true family business, multi-generational, and I have to say I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's really good. I'm so glad to hear that. And just from my own perspective, I've obviously worked with Portwest and thoroughly enjoyed it. And it is a force to be reckoned with, I think, and everything that you do is always at such a high standard, and hence the pressure in doing this video, because I feel like I'm being watched by the boss. So I really appreciate you coming in and sharing what you have been through. And Brexit is an international issue, and it's fantastic to see that you have managed to safeguard as best you can, the future of jobs locally in Westport, and the future of a fantastic growing business, and that nothing will stop you, I hope. So I wish you the very best luck, and thank you again so much for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, great. Thank you.